I was born in the forest. I can survive in the forest for 2 months without food and water because I know everything is there. We could collect mushrooms, fruits. A lot of wildlife was coming to our farm to feed on our crops. The first time I saw a gorilla, I saw the face. Then I see how big he was. He has a big belly. He was walking like elegantly and seeing the muscle. It was just amazing and scary for me. I kept that image until now. The nature in the forest I grew up when I was a child doesn't exist today. The power we have is based on that forest. If they lose this forest, they lose their culture, they lose their power, they lose their identity. Welcome home. My wife is cooking outside. And her name is Yvette. So she's cooking quickly for the kids who are going to school right now. We have 6 children. To miss the life in the village, it's a forest. You know, it's dusty here, noise everywhere.
Il travaille beaucoup. Il réfléchit, il aime trop le développement, toutes ces choses-là. Ouais. C'est une passion, c'est devenu sa vie, donc.
Vous avez peur des voitures? Je vais te protéger.
C'est la moudette.
I was born within the forest, which is called the Congo Basin National Park today. I was about 2 or 3 years old when my grandmother was taking me in the forest. She would show me how they lived. This was developing a kind of love in me of the forest. I was also experiencing the conflicts which existed between the park management and the communities. The colonialists left behind the idea that conservation is separating people from the forest. They were told that nobody is allowed to live in the forests because it's now a national park. The Batwa people and my community were kicked out of there. My grandmother, she didn't understand why they were kicked out. I think in her mind, we have boys in the family, we have to train them maybe to say something in the future. The Batwa people, they were kicked out of this forest when it became a national park. And now they are living in this tiny plot of land. These are the first habitat of the country. These are the people who have been protecting this forest for centuries. Kuno kondi lira mumpe hinalia. Nduli kuno murangi mura nduli kuno. Bali walia? You see how the people are skinny. I'm surprised to see the people from we grew up, same age, and I cannot recognize them anymore.
Kugerera makazi goshi abashwa balamago kujira omonda gipor akalamo kiru kahinduka akalamo kiru guhinduka bulyago makazi gishu eyo munda yoshwa kagigajirira sawankako kugerera chimbiriki tintaho ro chimujirira yehe.
Seeing a community which has lost their language, their land, their culture, what remains to them? It's just dying. If they had land tenure, we wouldn't see the situation of poverty we are seeing right now. The battle was exactly the same. I didn't have a chance to go to the kindergarten school. I was walking 7 kilometers to go to the primary school. It was hard as a child without shoes. As I was growing up, I got my A-level diploma in 1992. That I was 20 years old. We set up our first conservation organization. And at that time, the war started.
They're bringing more artillery to the border. It's been confirmed that the path to the south has already fallen to the rebels with help from Rwandan commandos.
That war in 1998, that was the one which killed people like insect here. We lost a lot of gorillas. They were just shooting on gorillas, not because the gorilla has done anything, it's just because it's a Congolese gorilla. Just shoot. This lowland gorilla, which is here, is endemic for this region. If they are gone here, they are gone forever.
When I met Dominique, I was very connected to the depth of his commitment. He was trying so hard to hang on to the protection of the gorillas, and nothing was coming in because of the war. And that is when I partnered with Dominique. The early years were extremely difficult. We ended up at gunpoint twice during the war, and we came under anti-aircraft fire. It was not easy. Dominique was in tremendous danger.
I was born where you see that tree. Here we had our house. Our spirit, is here. Everything starts from here. Now everything is gone. The village was attacked by armed groups. My mom was shot. She got 2 bullets in the hand and a bullet in the leg. Fortunately, she was the only one victim who survived. When I was obliged to leave this village, I didn't know what was going to happen. One thing I kept in my mind was how other communities which still have their forests and help them to secure those forests so that they don't get in the same situation in which we were here, to not disappear. So that's my battle. We are in war, yes, but people are working hard to give the future generations a hope to survive and to live in this country. We need a new Congo, and that's what we are working on. In Strong Roots, we were actually looking at how we could couple the traditional knowledge with science and new technologies together to protect the habitat where the gorilla live. Here is where everything passes. This is our lab. What I want is to ensure that we can have local communities, forests and wildlife thrive together. I love the people I work with. You know, those are my angels. Anastasia have gone in the forest where I've never been. She worked with communities I've never met.
Quand on protège la nature, quand on protège l'environnement, ce ne sont pas les mêmes communautés qui protègent, qui en profitent elles-mêmes, mais c'est la nation entière qui en profite. Nous sommes fiers d'être Congolais.
The land title is only one way I know we can preserve this forest. And that's the legal basis of this community forest we are working on today. This brings together local expert and international expert because we cannot do this alone.
We're no longer in an era of trying to raise awareness. We're in a decade of action. There are change makers in every community. And we're trying to support those grassroots efforts to use conservation as a frontline fight to protect the world's threatened species and the world's threatened ecosystems.
This corridor is connecting both Kahuzi-Biega National Park to Itombo Nature Reserve. And between them, we have huge forests which are not protected. The idea was to look at those other forests which were habitat for great apes and see how we could work with communities to preserve them.
What happens with forest loss is that species become very fragmented. You're actually creating a corridor between fragmented areas. It's allowing a space for species to move between.
If we keep them isolated on patches of forest, they're gonna disappear. This corridor is composed of 21 community forests. And the size of this corridor is about 600,000 hectares. These are areas I've been working in for decades. We were approached by the chieftain saying, hey, we have this forest. Those forests are rich in minerals. We are afraid that at any time these mining companies come with a piece of paper and kick us out of here. They knew that this law has been passed and that we were actually protecting gorillas mainly. Said we have gorillas on our lands, can you help us to protect them as well?
Bon appétit. Kamwambikire nani? Nice to meet you.
Okay, you say this is your forest. How do we know that it's your forest?
Jambo tena. Gisi tunasikia cartographie participative, shie bote tunapashwa participer kwa discussion. Na hapa kwa hii objectif ya cartographie participative si nilikuwa nasema ni kujiasure kama kujua ya kwamba sisi wenyewe tunajua ile malimiti ya pori yetu tunalomba. Bote banakuwa tena pamoja.
Tukakuya tukamata dini kwanza. Iko ndani.
Sasa tulifika hapo tukisema mipaka.
Skuru zinamwangia msheke. Katuku tu hayo namwangia. Hapa sasa ndio mkariere.
Ushuki hapa hivi ndio nani sulfe ya ule nani matumbi naanza mwa kilima ya Luaka.
Eskize kwanza. So unaona twende pole pole. Tuko tunaongozana unifuate baba.
This is the most important part of it. Because as they are talking about their boundaries with the reserve, they're going to talk the boundaries with other chiefdom and other communities. So if they don't agree on that, then the conflict continues with the neighbors.
It's like the foundation.
Yes, the foundation of everything is this.
Ce sont de vraies discussions. Ils doivent discuter pour avoir une entente. La plus grande chose à faire, c'est impliquer d'abord ces communautés dans tout ce que nous faisons.
Sasa a partir ya
hapa ni pori kwanza. Hapa tena ni pori. Sirushwega huyu.
Tunaona pori yote gisi. Okay. Yote gisi tulizunguka na gisi tunaichapa. Hii pori tunachapa hapo. Unaweza tusaidia tutilie karatasi. Karatasi.
Sahi.
Hii njo pori yenye tuliandikia barua za kulomba ili serikali nayo ikuye itupatie sasa tuzitumikishe milele na milele. Manake hii pori yetu sasa banatupatia zile karatasi inakuwa tena yetu milele na milele. Watoto ya watoto batakia itumikisha.
Congo is smaller than the Amazon, but if there's a second lung to the planet Earth, it is the Congo Basin. It is these very forests. Equatorial biodiversity is some of the highest in the world, and biodiversity is what protects all of our health and the health of all other species.
1.2 billion tons of carbon are stored every year in the Congo Basin. It accounts for 26% of the world's remaining tropical rainforest. The fight against climate change starts here.
The loss of tropical equatorial forests is catastrophic for the world. I see beauty, but I feel some horror as well for what's not there. Biodiversity of larger mammals and even birds has greatly declined.
When we are protecting this forest, we are not protecting this forest for Congolese alone, because the impact of this Congo Basin forest is for the whole world. By securing the title for those lands, it means that we can preserve this for our children. The next step, we're gonna go and pass by the boundaries of the forest.
Nous devons procéder maintenant à récolter les coordonnées géographiques pour produire une carte de la forêt.
Hii ni ya batate, haikupandiwa na mtu, ilipandiwa na Mungu. Bo, hii muti na represente wale obami 19.
Marque GPS.
Et qu'est-ce que nous voyons? Observation sur le point. Tunaona tuko na roche. Tunaona nini? Tunaona tuko mu trouée, dans une trouée à Seripostacus, tunaona ishamaliza pori hapa.
The land is vast. It's a huge forest. And as you are going, you are with neighbors. The neighbors may say, oh, no, the boundary is not here, but it's here. You have to sit down and understand each other in trying to have a compromise.
Présence de millions plus. Latitude.
96.
80.
655.
On a fait 15 jours de marche. Nous étions là en forêt avec les chefs locaux. Et on a passé des nuits et des nuits dans la forêt, sous des bâches. Pas des tentes, des bâches. Hein? Quand je suis en forêt, je ne suis pas seule. J'ai la joie. Ce qui me motive, c'est pour que nous ayons l'harmonie. Harmonie, communauté, environnement. C'est tout ce qui me motive.
The Western conservation consider communities as enemies of nature. Our belief, consider humans, local communities and indigenous people as part of nature, as gorillas are, elephants are, as forests are. And for us, that's conservation. You go to the office with this coordinate. You put that in a computer and print it. This is a map which is used in the requests of the community forest application. If we are going through the whole 21 community forests, which can take 3 months in each community forest. It's time consuming and fund consuming, but it's worth it.
Congo, dozens of people have been killed after protests against the presence of a UN peacekeeping mission turned deadly.
Is struggling to maintain its rich biodiversity.
A controversial move by the Democratic Republic of Congo. It's auctioning off oil and gas development rights to 30 blocks of tropical forest in the Congo Basin. Drilling in these areas could be catastrophic.
More than 70% of Congolese live on less than $2 a day. Government officials say it isn't their priority to save the planet.
The urgent thing right now is to get these titles for this forest land. Okay. It's not easy because sometimes I'm discouraged. The government will never give this to us, probably will never get it. I see the misery, this level of misery. I'm near to give up. Maybe I'm doing nothing. I told you about my hero, my grandmother. She was a mom, not just for me, but for my wife as well. When she passed away, I really cried because same day I feel something going out of me. I miss her so much. I am what she wanted me to be. Yeah, she is my hero. It's because of the memory of my grandmother that I'm working hard, because she trained me to do so. She told me to be a man, it's not easy. It's not by sitting down. It's by working hard. It's by being challenged by life. If you survive, now you are a man. Today is a big day.
Utaenda na kilote? Hauna pantalon ingine?
C'est bon. C'est bon. C'est pour ça que je cherchais. C'est pas la dernière fois que j'ai mis la veste.
This process has taken years, I'd say centuries. Here now, seeing everybody around us, all the people coming from Kinshasa, from Bukavu, from the villages, politicians, communities, farmers, hunters, educators, everybody, they are here.
Nous adressons nos remerciements les plus sincères à l'organisation non gouvernementale Strong Route.
Donnons la parole au directeur exécutif de Strong Route.
Je me souviens quand nous avons commencé ce processus, et aujourd'hui, nous sommes à son aboutissement. Commémore une grande route qu'on a tenue depuis des années, mais c'est un début de notre chemin. The title itself is about 3 pages. They've been managing all those lands, but they need that piece of paper. That piece of paper can last in those villages for centuries.
Nous avons des sentiments de joie. Les forêts là, si nous les gardons très bien, donc c'est un legs que nous allons laisser à nos enfants. Pour nous, c'est très important.
The communities today have the control of everything on the land. What we've achieved today, it helped designing a new era for the DRC. We need a new Congo, and this is the beginning of that. This is where the work starts now.
There's a growing awareness that Indigenous and traditional people all over the world are the people that know the most about how to heal their forests.
There's a new way to approach conservation, where communities and people are at the center of the solution instead of walling them off.
Biodiversity is about everything together.
It's this great brick wall, and you're pulling out one brick at a time. How many bricks can you pull until something happens? That's really what biodiversity loss is about.
When we are protecting gorillas with all these other elements, we are actually preserving this nature, which is important for climate change and which is important for communities.
What Dominique is doing, it's about the health and well-being of the planet and our future.
My grandmother, I think where she is, she's proud of me. When she sees what I've been accomplished, I think she is proud. What is being accomplished today is a fruit of the trees she watered when she was living.
Lima, tunza mazingira weyo, tunza vuna, tunza kula weyo, tunza mazingira.